How much wealth do you actually need to become financially free? The answer may be very different from the number you have in mind. Because financial freedom is not really about how much money you have. It is about whether your assets can support the life you want. Someone living comfortably on $30,000 a year needs a completely different financial foundation from someone spending $100,000. So the first number you need to know is not your salary. It is how much your lifestyle actually costs every year. If you spend $30,000 a year, that $30,000 becomes the starting point for calculating your financial independence target. The next question is, how much invested wealth is required to sustainably fund those expenses? This is where the famous 4% rule often enters the conversation. But 4% is not a magic guarantee. It is a historical rule of thumb with assumptions, limitations, and uncertainty. Biggest danger is sequence of returns risk. A bad market early in retirement can do far more damage than the same losses later. Two people with the same average investment return can have very different outcomes, depending on when those returns occur.
That is why financial independence is not simply a multiplication exercise. Asset allocation, liquidity, and risk tolerance matter.
And there is another powerful variable: how much you spend.
If your income rises, but your lifestyle rises just as quickly, financial freedom may move no closer. But if you capture part of every income increase and invest it, the gap between your lifestyle and your wealth can widen dramatically. Time can become your greatest financial advantage because compounding allows returns to generate additional returns. Starting earlier can dramatically reduce the amount you need to contribute because your capital has more time to work.
This creates an important trade-off. The longer your time horizon, the less pressure you may need to place on your savings rate today.
Financial independence is therefore partly a trade-off between enjoying more today and building more freedom for tomorrow. Wealth should not be measured by assets alone. High-interest debt can quietly destroy the financial foundation you are trying to build.
The more useful measure is net worth. What you own minus what you owe.
Even a house you own does not automatically make you financially independent because an asset can still create ongoing costs and may not generate spendable cash.
What matters is whether your overall financial system can reliably provide the cash you need.
A realistic financial independence plan also needs room for inflation, emergencies, market volatility, and unexpected expenses. Diversification can reduce the damage caused by any single investment failing, although it can never eliminate investment risk. For assets like crypto, the uncertainty is even greater. High potential upside comes with extreme volatility, liquidity risk, and that is why position sizing matters. A potentially rewarding asset can still be dangerous if one mistake can destroy your financial plan. Psychology may be one of the biggest threats to financial independence because fear and greed can turn a long-term strategy into short-term speculation. So instead of asking for one perfect number, build a range using realistic assumptions. A conservative scenario, a reasonable scenario, and a more optimistic scenario can show you how sensitive your plan is to market returns. A stronger framework starts with an emergency reserve, removes expensive debt, builds diversified investments, and then increases the margin of safety.
And financial freedom does not have to be all or nothing. There are levels of freedom along the way.
You might reach a point where you do not need to quit working completely. You simply gain the freedom to choose how much you work. That may actually be a better definition of wealth. Not owning the most things, but having the most control over your time.
So how much do you need? Start with your annual spending. Choose a realistic withdrawal assumption, account for taxes and inflation.
The goal is not to chase a magical number. It is to build enough productive assets with enough safety and flexibility.
Financial freedom is not about being rich by someone else's definition. It is about owning enough financial capacity to live your life on your own terms.